Megan.
Hey,
How you doing?
good. I saved a cat today.
You saved a cat?
Well, not really. We put it down, but someone hit it. Someone hit it and like left it in the middle of the road, and I found it and I picked it up. And yeah, it had like brain, like someone hit the head. So,
So it died.
well, it was alive, but there's nothing so yeah,
You cleaned the
we
mess
put
up.
it down.
Okay. Took it out of its misery.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know whose it is though.
Well, it's nobody's anymore.
It's true.
Too soon.
Are
Is
you
it
in your
better?
car?
Is it better to find the person and tell them it's dead, or just let them wonder that it's never coming home?
I mean, I would want to know if my animal died.
Maybe put signs up then.
I don't know. I didn't have a collar or anything, and it looked, I don't know. I don't know. Are you in your car?
Yeah. Yep. The roads are freaking bad.
Yeah, it's snowing.
Yeah, they're bad last night. They're bad again. Driving up to the freaking lake.
Yeah, last night was bad. I was out.
There's nobody. When I drove up last night, there was nobody on the roads. There's no tracks or anything. It was just all snow covered. Nobody plowed yet. Nobody was driving. It was nuts.
Were you driving at night?
Yeah, because I flew in last night. So I drove from Syracuse and then drove to the lake.
Oh. Your flight didn't get delayed or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
4.5 hours.
holy crap. Where were you stuck at?
Dallas. So it wasn't that bad. They have a good airport.
Oh. Where's everyone?
I don't know. I was just looking on the thing.
I did. I logged in at 7. I was like, oh shit, not 7.
Yeah. Other coast.
And I was like, oops.
So I started doing these when I was in Arizona. So I always keep 7 o'clock on there, but some people don't look at the. Yo,
Hey, how's it going?
what up, man?
All right. I just got off work a little bit ago. It's dark and it's beautiful out today, but you know how it is. You're at work.
What time does it get dark there?
About a little after 5.
Okay.
Yeah, a little after 5. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, Amber.
Hi guys, sorry. How's everybody?
Doing good.
Chilling.
Hi Megan. Is Portia on? I can't see
Hi.
it
Portia's not on yet.
now. Okay.
She's coming in. Be a few minutes late, but
How's it going, Jason?
I'm doing real good. Can't complain at all. This last weekend was nice and got a lot of stuff done, but it was just busy. So, but it
Yeah.
was fun though. Got a lot of tractor work done and went up in the hills, and it was fun. Now I'm gonna be a little bit slower this weekend though.
Well, good to see your smiling face. You got a good vibration there going. I hear it. I feel it.
No, it's been good.
What's
How
your
about
wife's
you?
name?
What's that?
What's your wife's name?
Lori.
Lori.
Yep.
Brandon, what up, dude?
Hey,
Nice. I love WWF background again.
it took me a while to get back on Zoom. I haven't been on Zoom since like September. So
Oh
Hi,
wow.
Brandon.
hey,
What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
not much. How's it all going?
Good to see you.
Good to see y'all.
Yeah.
You look like a Major League Baseball player today. I don't know what that is. Looking
Um,
good, kid.
Well, thank you.
Everything good with you? What's been going on, man?
Oh, me?
You move? Hey, did you
Everything's-
move?
Did I move? No.
Oh, were you messing around online or something? I thought it said you moved somewhere on Facebook or something.
Oh, I think I put something like where I moved to.
Oh, like updated
'cause,
your location.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm still in Arizona. I
was
just
like, he just moved, just boom.
no. Yeah, I got a job offer from Southwest Airlines, so still waiting on the background check.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, buddy.
And
What do you do for Southwest? What are you gonna do for Southwest Airlines?
ramp agent.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that for a year and then move up to customer service agent.
In
No
Arizona.
matter,
Yeah,
no matter what, you get to travel, right? I mean, that's
Ye-
the big
yeah.
perk, right?
yeah.
That's exciting.
Philly Phil's joining in. Philly Phil's joining in. He can always just hear us as
Hey, Phil.
what's her name's gonna join us in a few minutes, so we'll just get cruising. But today, one, I wanted to say I just came back from Carrie's wedding. She just got married this weekend. It was incredible. It was, if anybody knows Carrie, it was completely her style and her whole thing. But it was 2-day wedding and event, and some of just the best people in her life there and around. It was really good to see her that happy, and it went off really well. So she says hi to everybody, and she's gonna start trying to get back to normal now that things are not planning and wedding and travel and all that stuff, and try to get back on these. So it was awesome to see her get married, and she was super pumped and looked amazing, and the wedding was awesome. So yeah, this week it just reminded me, I think probably her wedding, because it was just off the hook. It was just crazy. I mean, it reminded me of something about just like we talked like the currency thing before, way back, like what is currency, what is the value of money. But I wanted to talk more about like the cost of money. Like what is it that we do? One, valuing money. I think we had a whole episode about that before, but this is more like when we look at this weekend, kind of opened my eyes to what everything really is. Like when we talk about, for example, like buying a house, I want to buy a house and it says, let's do a round number, it's $200,000. And we go to the bank and say, hey, can I borrow 200,000? Like, yeah, you're maxed out at 200. That's what your value is, or your worth, or that's how much we can give you based on who you are and your job and everything. But oftentimes people they get that value and they say, okay, I'm approved for 200, and they go look for a $200,000 house. When the cost of money is one that's not yours, you're borrowing it, right? Not a lot of people even look at that right away. They just think that's what they said I can have. I got 200. One, we don't know borrowing money is borrowing money, the cost there, but I think what we lose sight of sometimes is the cost of really everything we do. I'm using a house as an example because maybe you buy the house and you want to buy a house for 200 and you finagle and you get it down 10,000 or 15,000 or whatever it is. But you know, a lot of people go right into using that saved money, if you will, and then they want to remodel the kitchen or they're going to do the garage with that money, you're still 200 in. But the cost of money is really time, effort, your time. What are you going to have to do over the years? Maintenance, taxes, replacement stuff, keep the upkeep. All these things come along with the cost of money that we don't usually recognize. And why I brought up that analogy too is the easiest to talk about. But what I'm really bringing up is when I was at Carrie's wedding, it was like looking around at every detail. And this was a very highly detailed wedding. Like, I mean, real trees, real flowers. There must have been 100,000 white roses throughout this place. Everything was real. Like it wasn't, put on the attention to detail and the ceiling. They made like a jungle with these hangers. And I started thinking to myself, one, the cost, right? But more importantly, the cost of that money, the people behind it, all the effort it takes to get stuff done, to get that, to look like that, to the finished product where, some of us, 300 people walk in and you with your eyes, you just say, oh, this is amazing. And not much more thought than that, right?
Yeah.
But the cost of that, and it's not just the paper money, it's the cost. It's the human time, the detail, the amount of people, the time it took
Well done.
over the months it took of planning, ideas from creative people, all those things. So I wanted to use this week to more like educational, I guess. Like when we talk about things we want and need, how much money does it actually cost? Do you ever go to the store and say the jeans are $50? Is there any other cost associated to it? Well, not a lot of the times are we buying things in our life that we do the calculation of the further costs. And a lot of it's can be calculated through money, but I'm just saying costs in general, right? Like sometimes overextending yourself in a house, like what is the cost? Maybe that means you start putting more hours at work and now your social life's lacking or your marriage and the pressure's on you now because you stepped into this realm where the bank or whoever told you you're worth this much money. So now you think that's yours, even though on real math, if you learn and did paperwork, real responsible lending would never give you as much as they do today based on your real life. That's the real truth. That's the tough truth. Today you can go get a credit card with 10,000 on it without them asking you if you have a job. Or you can go get a house that reality, if you did the math, you don't have the money to afford. But what it does is it puts external pressures on us. The cost of money puts external pressures on us and it starts to change who we are, what we do, what we put first, what we all consider to be important. Like now I got to work more hours, I got to work another job, or, I can't do this with my friends on the weekend. So we're always giving something up when we overextend because I don't think enough of us are doing the calculation of what money costs, right? It's like the simple math is go to the bank. Here's how much you can lend. Here's a percentage rate. Here's the time. Here you go. The number one thing, because my dad was in it forever and I've been in and out of my whole life, is the car business. And as Portia knows, her family's been in it. But the car business is the best because you'll walk in and they'll tell you what do you want to spend a month? And you can say $89. And guess what? They got a plan for you. It's 45 years with 32% interest and you can pay $89. By the time you're done with that car, not only will it be broken down because it'll be 18 years old, but you'll have paid that car over 3 times. Because all they're trying to do is get you, and they're selling that ticket. They're selling that money somewhere else. I'm not saying the dealers. I'm just saying money's being constantly sold to somebody else. That's why they're irresponsibly giving it to us, even though we might not be capable to pay that money off. So when I say cost of money, look, how stressful has everybody on this page been in a stressful money situation once or multiple times in their life? Maybe it's not huge. Maybe it's not like you're upside down in your house. Maybe it's just you ran low on your money this week because you overspent and you're waiting for your next check, or between all your payments, you're like really low. Money puts a ton of stress on everybody, whether you have a lot of it or you have none of it. The stress does not hide from anybody because the more money you have, the more things, and I'm not saying possessions, but things you have responsible for. The more money you have, the more money you spend. Those each individual things, houses and cars and trips and second house and bars and all those things have associated costs to them. And it's called upkeep, maintenance on your life. So just because you have more money doesn't mean you need to be spending more money, because there's always hidden costs, if you will, that we don't calculate it, don't talk about. We definitely don't, if we want something badly enough. It's like, I want this new car. And the second you can get them to sign it over to you, you're taking. You're not like, what's this going to cost me in insurance for a year or 2 years? What's this going to cost me in gas over the right? How about inflation over those years? Are that going to go up? Like, we're not doing the real math of money. We're just like, nice, got the car. You know, and maybe in a year you lose your job and you're under the gun again, you're under pressure. So my focus on this message this week was to get a little more light on finances in our lives and what it really costs us. You know, like I said, I brought up Carrie's wedding because Carrie's very fortunate. She didn't overextend herself. She can afford those things. Her life allows that. But what got me thinking about it is marriage, the institution of marriage, is a pressured situation as well. You know, there's a lot of things that say how much you should spend on a marriage and how much you should spend on a wedding ring, you know, 3 months salary. And, you know, you're supposed to do all these things in this like short period of time of massive amounts of money spent. And you start off, which is supposed to be this happy union, under the pressure already of the upcoming stresses that have come along with the cost of money, right? Money's just paper. It's just printed. They'll print more. They'll keep doing it. They'll keep lending it because they'll print more and devalue. Trust me, they're not worried on that side about it. We need to be the ones being a little bit more responsible and saying, oh, they'll give me $200,000 for this house. Wait, can I afford $200,000? That's just for the house. I have a car already still. I have a freaking girlfriend. I got a dog. I mean, I got 2 kids. That's excluding all that. You know, so we always chop it up to like, oh, it only costs, you know, $189 a month. That's not true. None of that's true. And then we're only really focusing on the financial payment of that money, not what's happening to us mentally, physically, relationally, spiritually. You know, money has broken a lot of people. Owing money has broken more people. And because a lot of us get to slave to money and envy and all these sins that are not us, we get attached to it and it breaks us. We feel less than, right? We feel behind the 8 ball a ton, like we can never catch up. There's no way out. And that can consume us. And that's just literally the physical paper part, which is, I think, is the most ridiculous. But if we get to the real stuff, you know, the actual cost of things in life is us, the internal, external things that are happening to us as humans for any choices we really make. But finance is a big one. It's a huge one. It's a huge one in marriage in the country. It's a big, big reason why people get divorced, because of the stress of money. So just like getting into, I wanted to invite this guy, and he unfortunately couldn't make it. He kind of canceled me last minute, but one of my good friends, he does this for a living. He's a financial guy, but he's in a sector where he privatized and he helps the families of rich people more than he does just them. Like, he's not just helping that person that has all the money. He's really gets into the family dynamic and the responsibility of, you know, one, asking that person for money over asking, you lending people within your family money just because they're your family, also not responsible. Like, he navigates this whole thing to try to keep the culture of the family really healthy. And I wanted him to shoot on quick to just mention a couple of things because he's really good at it and I don't know shit about it. But essentially what he does is that he protects the sanctity of the things around money. Right? He broke off. He worked for a company for years, but he broke off and really saw value in this part of it okay, I've dealt with a lot of rich people, a lot of athletes, a lot of people, but how can I keep them with the money? How can I keep them that money longer? How can I have it be a legacy, not just a lottery ticket? And how can I keep their dynamic of their family together? Because I told you before, money is, envy and money and greed is a sin. It's something easily get attached to and get focused on so deeply that we forget about the important things, and we can make really nasty choices. And sometimes with family, it's even worse. So I think what he does is interesting, and hopefully I can get him on another time and he can just leave the whole message because he's really brilliant dude. But he reminded me of first person I thought of was him because same, like what's the consequences of money and how much do we really have? I mean, you can call the bank and check your bank accounts, but how much do you really have? And if you look around the room, forget the bank, you look around the room, how much everything that we see right now in our visual eyes right now, all of us, we look in everybody's window, this little window space, there's money everywhere. This hat I'm wearing, this jacket, the glasses, the camper you're sitting in, the zip hoodie, Amber sitting over there, dog, like everything has a value to it because you used money to get it. How are we treating that? How much does it cost to keep it? And then can we get more, or should we get more is a better question, right? Do we need more? Should we get more? And why are we doing it? How much do we actually need if it's going to cost us? Now, I'm not saying, I think if you're very aware in this space, if you're very good in this mindset of understanding, one, where your money comes from, how you earn it, how you spend it, what it's really worth, what it's worth to you and your family and how you use it. And you're looking at the maintaining of it. If I buy this camper, Jason, like there's costs a year to it. Can I also afford that? But I want to get upside down this, lose 40% on it because I didn't realize in 6 months I couldn't afford upkeep.
You're right.
And a lot of people get there because the idea is better than the actual work behind trying to figure out if you can afford it. But it happens all the time, man. Like, and my friend Seven back here is in the car business. Andy's in the car business, Porsche's brother too. And the other guy I work with is like, he could pick apart people's mistakes, meaning he gets the benefit. He just goes and picks foreclosed on stuff, grabs it for nothing because a bunch of people went out with stuff they couldn't afford. And he picks it up and makes a ton of money off it, Fortunate for him, unfortunate for the other people, but that's the reality of the world because money is being lent irresponsibly like crazy to everybody. And if we don't know any better, I had a conversation at the wedding with a guy. It's like, how nice would it be if education reform had a little bit of like real life classes involved instead of just the history of the world and the history of mathematics and the history of like everything we learn in school is like the history, like the backwards version of everything before us. Not like sexual education, health, what you put in your body, like finances, what's rent look like how do you live on your own? I mean, all this stuff. And it's unfortunate because you go from one extreme to another. It's not like I came from a bunch, but we lived under a roof, we ate, lived with our parents, and all of a sudden you weren't living with them and you're on your own. And everything that was their responsibility, their costs of money, their maintenance of life became yours in a freaking heartbeat, and you became an adult. So how do we even know what we're talking about now, besides having to go through it, learn the hard way? Because we don't quite learn it. Because right out of high school, credit cards were sent to my house. I never even applied for anything. I didn't know what anything was. I just got credit cards in the mail. They knew I graduated. It's like, this kid's an adult, send him credit cards, $1,000 limit. There you go. So I was like, yo, $1,000? Let's go. Spent that shit in a hurry.
Then you turn about 40. Then you turn about 40 and you wake up.
I didn't read anything. I didn't read 24% interest rate, had to pay it back. I didn't read any of that shit. I ripped that thing open, took the plastic and left the house. The other shit went in the garbage. Because whoever read that before? I didn't know that was a thing. So it's not like we're set up for it. So it's not like I'm saying all these people are irresponsible, because they're really not. Some people are, they know better, but a lot of people are just, they go to their bank, their institution of safety, where they keep their money. They're supposed to be protecting you and your money and your assets and your life. And you say, hey, how much can I borrow from you? And they're like, 200,000. You're like, doing better than I thought I was. Shit. Heck yeah, I'm the shit. Give it to me. They're like, no problem, Mike. How about like a financial refresher before you leave? Like, okay, here, man, here's a deal. We're gonna give you this 200,000, but here's the ways you can get in trouble if you don't pay us, or any of that. And you know what? It doesn't happen because it's not their job. They're selling money. But look, we get older, we get wiser. We need to know these things. We need to be the collective teachers of passing it on, because I don't think it's very known growing up, unless you have really good parents teaching you. But like, as far as our system goes, it's not like readily available to you. Like, here's how to financially be responsible. Where's that? Did anybody have that growing up besides their like family? Was it in school? Was it in class? Buddy, you and your buddies, instead of getting together after school, you got together and did finance hangouts? No, nobody did that shit. You did?
I mean, kind of, but yeah.
So yeah, I think when we look at the cost of money in general, one, money is only what we value it as. Just as the government does, we can too. They determine the value, and thus the market, thus the inflation up and down, what they say it's worth. But we have that strength and ability to, because we also have the ability to choose what we buy.
What hurts my feelings, Michael, a lot, you hear people, inheritance. I'm waiting for the inheritance. I'm waiting for the inheritance. No, I'm just opposite. And I'm sure you guys everybody on here is the same way. You work for it, like my parents and your parents and everything else. Your parents work for it. They need to spend it. They need to have fun with it. You know, they don't need to sit there and, oh, we're going to save it for you. I've told my parents before my mom passed away, have fun, spend your money. I'm not waiting for it. Even if I didn't have a lot, I don't do whatever, but I don't want to spend your money. And that's the way we need to be. That's the way we need to show the world. But I watch people all the time. I'm waiting. I can't wait to get it. That just gripes me. They need to spend it. They work for it.
Well, you're right. There's no difference in the bank though. And inheritance could be just said a different way. The bank's waiting to give you money too.
Yep.
People that are waiting are always waiting, man.
You that's like the whole piece of like the entitlement piece, and the people who aren't really living like spiritually on a spiritual path, is that like if their parents had money or somebody else was very successful in their lives, they act like they were somehow successful when meanwhile they haven't done anything for 20 or 30 years, but somehow it translates for them that, well, my parents were lawyers, or my parents have real estate, or my parents have a lake house or whatever. So, I mean, I'll just wait it out, just do the least amount.
Well, let's say that, so let's talk about that. Cause that's my next point, was the cost of money of like understanding if you're close to somebody, or you come from a family that already has a business that's supporting your family, or you've opened your own business, or you've had success in that world, or you've worked for a very successful company where you've been in that company and everything was working well, and it is well. You had a good job there. When you look around, and I had to learn this the hard way by having a dream of wanting my own business. I had to open it and learn it. But you'll find out in a hurry, if you pay attention, that every single thing has a cost to it.
Thank you.
Having a body in the building as an employee costs more than they're paying you. Just so everybody knows. And I don't know if you know this or not, but if you have an employee, it's not, I pay you $50,000, your salary. I pay employee tax. I pay insurance for you to be in the building. On the insurance, and you as a human being there, liability, I got to pay into workers' comp. I got to pay taxes. Like, to have you as a human there, it's not 50, it's 50 plus. And then let's get to the things like if I want to give you. So we're gonna pay for mileage or extra pens now in the building, or we're gonna have company hats. Or if you just look around, and every single thing for a well-operated business has to be accounted for. Paper for the printer. Like, dude, some of the stuff that was coming up on my first year of like the monthlies, I was like, why does that keep coming up? Who keeps using the freaking paper? I'm like, who's using all the toilet paper? Why am I buying 500 rolls of paper towels? Like, it couldn't even, all the things that I just never could have thought about, because, like, again, I didn't grow up with much, but I never had to go buy toilet paper when I was in the shitter. So I was rich in that way, you know. I didn't have to like run from the bathroom and run to the store and grab toilet paper and figure out how much it was worth. If I sat down, I expected toilet paper to be on my left. But my mom didn't, you know. She knew every freaking time, like when the toilet paper was out, she's like, these freaking kids are shitting all the time. I gotta go to the store and get toilet paper. But because we don't learn those things, and some people do, look, some people's parents are like on top of them, and I get that, but as a whole, it's like you just, as a parent or a kid, you don't think about those things in the moment, because the parents are doing what they need to be doing and just buying it because they're providers, because they're kids. It doesn't matter. And the kids are just doing what they're doing, wiping their asses. Not thinking about you can use 4 sheets when you use 300 and wrap around your hand 300 times. You don't need it. So we just don't, the value of money changes as we get older, we get more responsibility to it. And it's ours, and it's put in our pocket, and we have to exchange it with people for the things we want. But yeah, like look around, man. Sometimes just like I had a huge one, obviously being at the wedding. I'm looking around, I'm just like counting, like holy shit, like it's a lot, man. But then I think about some of the friends that I know that got married that still haven't paid their wedding off years and years later. And by the way, it's like, well, the wedding, the ring, and oh yeah, we're buying a house now too. Those are big ticket items to just essentially start a relationship and get to know each other in. Like debt. Let's get to know each other in debt. You know, so I think if we can look at things different than money, the value of money as different than just money paying back. Like, yeah, take cash because that's what our currency is today. That'll change one day too. But today is cash and US currency, and we're gonna have to exchange that for a car or a house and change hands, and you're gonna have to pay back with cash. But forget that part. What are you actually paying back with? Because how are you getting the cash? Somebody let you borrow 200,000. You know, it's like Goodfellas. Like, I don't know if everybody's into old mobster movies, but there's a famous part of that movie. It's like, what if they don't have the money? Pay us. Yo, your cat died? Fuck you, pay me. You know, you got fired from your job? Fuck you, pay me. You know, your grandma said, fuck you, pay me. And the essential thing is, I don't care. You borrowed the money. Pay me. Right? And that really is what's happening. Somebody will always lend you money. Trust me. You can always get money lent to you because everybody loves getting paid back on some kind of vig. That's called investing in a small way. So it's like that always happened. The question is, can you always generate money? So don't overextend yourself. Can you always generate it to be able to pay people back, or just run on your own? You know, I spend all my money I've ever made on my dream. I chose that. Every business person I ran into told me I should have borrowed it. Maybe I should have, but I didn't want that. I wanted to see if like I can only buy the things that I could and go at that pace and see if I could still go fast. But I learned that money the hard way, man. It stressed me the F out every day because it was mine. Like if it was the banks, I probably wouldn't have been so stressed out every day. But when I had to buy freaking toilet paper or toilet tissues or anything that seemed so ridiculous to me, I got so irritated because I was pulling out of my bank account. And then I had to go home and still buy that stuff for my house.
Probably the most successful business people in the world, it was all borrowed. I mean, they would probably never think about spending $1 of their own money, getting investors or people to put in. And can at some point, can we, before we get off tonight, can we talk about like mindset about money? Because I was broke my entire life and traveled the world probably like some prima donna. And then when I actually had some money, that was when more of troubles began. Because when you have something, it's way easier to get something for less when you have nothing, because that's all you have to negotiate with. You know what I mean? Like I've gotten so much. I lived in Hawaii. I've traveled the country on nothing. I've gone on trips like on a whim with like $200 in my pocket and like made it work. Like I was like the richest person alive because of my mindset now looking back. But whenever I've had money to try to do something, it's never within my reach, or it's too much, or it's an over expenditure. It's something that took from me in a way that ended up not being worth it or whatnot. So it's interesting as far as how I think about it too, and what I have actually.
And that is it. That happens in sports too. That's not just a money thing. It's the mindset of what you have and what you don't. There's a ton of studies on sports about, people that became the top level athletes coming from literally no spots in the world, like hotbeds they call them. It's because they had almost nothing, they became that much better at what they were doing. So when they got something like a pair of running shoes, you had no chance against them because they grew up running with no shoes. So like there's a reason why, if you look up athletes and where they come from in the world, certain athletes, runners and all that stuff, they group up quickly in parts of the world, and they call them hotbeds because like IMG, where I worked, 11 sports, 500 acres of land, everything you could possibly want for an athlete, from respirators to Gatorade sweat labs to every coach out in the world. We have 800 kids on campus in 11 sports, and we ain't generating 0.5% going pro. Half of a percentile made it to the pros and just made it there. Half that were successful financially. That's bad numbers. That's bad math. That's really bad math. So there is, to your point, Amber, there's a psychology of having too much versus having nothing. And there's somewhere in the middle that blends very well. Right? To me, it's called respect. It's just respect of what's had and what's needed. There's a mix of it. But having too much is troublesome. And having nothing is also troublesome. Both ends work and have, but it's always been a marriage of two, and keeping the mindset of $200 can feel like 10,000 depending on where your life is, but 2,000 can feel broke depending on where your life is. If you owe 900 rent and 248 on your car and the electric bills come in and you haven't grocery shopped yet, 2,000 is a lot of money. It's like, when am I getting my 2,000? But as a young person, and maybe you're sharing a house, or you're still sleeping on your mom's couch, or whatever it is, and you got $200 in your pocket, it's like, yo, I got $200. Let's go do something. It's like, let's go. And like, you can get 4 people to pitch in $200. It's like, all you need is gas money. We'll figure the rest out when we get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, mindset's huge, and I guess that's what it really comes down to. I think this whole thing was really meant to be targeted towards the mindset of money. What our value is, but really just focusing on everything that it does to us. You're getting a new job, Brandon, like he's coming up. Part of these interviews is how much are they paying me, and does that fit into my lifestyle? Or do I want this job because I think the culture of Southwest is going to be fun because they are fun. You have to marry all these things, but a lot of it comes down to, I have rent to pay, and I have, my house, I have to pay for me, the medical bills and these things. And can they pay me my worth, but also can I live? Right? And sometimes we get ahead of the living thing before we even get to know what we're worth, or we get somebody to give us our worth. So we're playing a little bit behind the 8 ball. So I think once we develop the value of everything that money entails, much peaceful, I get to think back to that mindset of being young, right? Like this fresh mind of like, you shove a little cash in your pocket and you feel freedom. And sometimes when we become an adult like that, it's like, holy shit, everything costs money. Everything. It's like, And the answer is really no, but yes, everything costs money.
It costs somebody. It doesn't have to cost you.
Yeah, exactly. It can
You
cost-
just went to this beautiful weekend that was unbelievably, and real, you had to probably, spend airfare and the cost of a suit and a meal or two or whatnot, but you got to experience a lot of that. And there's lots of ways to do that in life. And we can look for the small ways to not have it cost us, but actually have it give something to us, some asset where you walked away with this beautiful, amazing experience and weekend and memories and pictures and music and this whole thing. And it didn't really cost you anywhere near what that event would have been worth had you had to produce it in order to experience it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Which is so cool.
You should always break down, in my opinion, you always should break down the math of the full thing. So I mean, a trip costs you $2,000. What is it? What does that break down to? Not just airfare, hotel, and suits. Like
it was medicine,
experience, life, people, family, friends. I mean, you could do a breakdown just like a business and be like, oh, actually, it was actually only $1.49 an hour. And that's the beauty of looking at things. As from
A lot of times, like you say, it's memories. It's memories a lot of
everything.
times too.
And nobody puts price on those, right? Because we're supposed to just expect them happening.
Nope.
But there is
sometimes you can't do it either.
there's a price to it. Saying yes is a huge thing. Like sometimes you're like, I can't, I gotta work, I can't, or I can't do this, I can't. Sometimes it's not about like how much it is, it's about how much you're missing. If you're missing. So as a business owner, that calculation actually I hated doing because I usually used to do it on myself. And as much money as I made, if I calculated everything I was doing, my time and all my real cost efficiency chart, it fucking sucked. I could have been a manager at McDonald's, been killing it. Weekends off, you know what I mean? Like no responsibility, punching out, peace.
Well,
but
you learn that there's no point in spending your own money and pride and whatever. Like why?
Well, no, I'm saying there's a thing to like giving. Well, that's the value of your money. So
yeah,
I think we have to earn our own value. Figure out what money means to us. What we mean to money, I think is more important. Like where do we stand in that equation? They always ask you when you're getting a job, like, what do you think you're worth? Like, well, I mean, what kind of dumb questions are these? Like, I don't know. How much is the US dollar worth today? And then ask me tomorrow because the US economy is going up and down. So I'll let you know how much I'm worth tomorrow. It's like, are you going to change as the world changes? Because I'll take 50 today, but I'm going to need 60 in a week.
Yeah, like the difference I was looking at between Lowe's and Southwest interviewing me was so much different. Like Lowe's just said, okay, you're hired. We need you. And Southwest just wanted, they want to make sure you're the right person.
Well, I hope you got jokes because Southwest is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a whole culture.
It's
yeah.
I like the process though, right? Because
yeah.
Without that process, you don't get to ask yourself the questions, the hard questions anyway.
Yeah.
Because what are you worth? I mean, I don't know. What do we know? It's like, I don't know what you're going to have me do over the next year. So it's interesting for us to just go through the exercises of one, worth money to us, and then the cost of it. Because that's individual too, right? Like not everybody's cost of money is the same. But if you look
I literally
dollar, that's a big deal.
Like I straight just use it to barter. Like I know that is the cost of admission for the most part, unless I can figure out a different way a situation. But it's like, look, if my rent is $1,000 or whatever, how many hours at what rate do I have to work the least amount of hours to pay the rent? So it's just an exchange. It's like, okay, I have to work 9 hours a week at this particular job to pay my rent every week for that month. Okay, that's what I'll do to live here. And then the next thing is, the car or whatever it is. But yeah, to me, it's all just like, I do what I need to do to get what I want. And I don't try to have any emotional attachment to it other than I feel abundantly blessed at all times. And if I had to, I could go out and panhandle any amount of money, but as long as my body will work, I'll always work for any dollar I receive, and I'm not afraid. I'll sing on a corner. Like, I don't care. Busk with my hat and my guitar thing,
We could do some panhandling.
Money's easy to get. There's only so much money.
We could do a live connect group one time and panhandle. See how much money we can raise.
Yeah,
That'd be
we should
fun.
do that. That'd be awesome. Fundraiser for charity. Let's pick one.
All right, my charity. I was thinking charity of my choice.
We'll just direct deposit it right to you.
Yes, I'm cool with that. Whatever's easiest for you guys.
Yeah, I like that.
You should charge $4.99 subscription to your podcast this year.
Yeah, get you an OnlyFans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
only-
and OnlyFans.
We'll each pay you $5 a month. The more people you get, you'll be traveling in your van life.
I mean, the way OnlyFans is set up now, I don't think we'd be too popular with our topics.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, yeah, you might have.
Go through and then everybody like, oh, okay, this is boring. One month subscription for everybody, never again. Be the fastest OnlyFans page in history.
Yeah, yeah.
In and
Then
out of
have you ever seen that guy on TikTok and he's like, what do you do? He asks people, what do you do? And they're like, I'm an OnlyFans.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Then we can go on there and I love it.
OnlyFans for Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you just had it on like the picture on Christ's like chest, like on your center console, just the waiting always for the peekaboo, the reveal. No, that's all you get.
I mean, yeah, technically. I mean, he has just as many nudes out there as anybody else. I mean, it's not. Like,
Loincloth all day.
Exactly.
speaking of
I
man,
think
speaking of man, they never valued money, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? Walk the earth.
Yeah. Right.
yeah. Well, that's like abundance is like a way of being, right?
Of course.
And then from abundance comes prosperity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And
you
so
notice how both times you didn't say money? Currency.
right. Well, right, because there's so much more to abundance.
Right.
Like
So much more.
yeah, and that's where people get hung up.
So that's where I'm gonna kind of end. Like, my point is, what she just said is it, right? Like, if there's no value to real actual money, it's when we give up those two things is when the value of money becomes too rich. When you have to start giving up those two things, then the value of money has become too rich in your life.
Yeah.
You gotta get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that at Christmas time a lot. People will go through Starbucks and pay for the people behind, but we need to do that year round.
Yeah. Totally.
People, I'm in a little tiny smart car, just so you know. And it's snowing, so I'm gonna let you. I gotta end this. I gotta go.
Oh my
I
God.
appreciate you guys.
You should totally switch over to one of those.
I literally got this thing. $2,300 is awesome. But in the snow, yo.
Nah. No.
All right, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Next week is our last week of this. Sorry, Zoe starts.
Oh.
All right, thanks, Michael.
Appreciate
Love
you guys.
Love you.
Bye,
Be safe,
bye,
everybody.
guys.
God
Bye, guys.
bless.
God bless.